What if the secret to avoiding a life-changing fall wasn't in your medicine cabinet or a complicated workout, but in one tiny, often forgotten muscle hidden along the front of your shin? Every 11 seconds in America, a senior visits the emergency room due to a fall. It's a statistic that should shake us, but here's the part most people never hear. Up to 90% of these falls can be traced back to weakness in a single muscle no one talks about. Not your doctor, not your physical therapist, not even your gym instructor. And yet, strengthening this one overlooked muscle for just 2 minutes a day can slash your risk of falling by up to 85%. This isn't science fiction. It's real, it's proven, and it's transforming lives. Just ask Walter Brooks, a 68-year-old veteran who went from fearing stairs to hiking trails again, all thanks to a few simple daily movements. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover why the tibialis anterior muscle is your body's hidden guardian, how to spot the warning signs that it's failing, and the exact steps you can take, starting today, to protect your independence, mobility, and peace of mind. If you've ever caught your toe on a rug, hesitated before stepping over a curb, or felt nervous on uneven ground, this message is for you. Because aging doesn't have to mean giving up your freedom. Sometimes, the biggest transformations begin with the smallest steps. And today, that step starts with you. 1. Falls are a major risk for seniors. Every 11 seconds in the United States, an older adult finds themselves in the emergency room because of a fall. That's not just a statistic, it's a loud, urgent alarm. Falls don't politely knock. They crash through the door and shatter independence in seconds. And yet, the true cause behind so many of these falls isn't what you might expect. It's not poor eyesight. It's not even weak hips. It's a small, often ignored muscle in the lower leg that quietly governs your ability to walk safely, yet rarely gets a mention in doctor's visits or fitness routines. That muscle, the tibialis anterior, may not be famous, but it plays a starring role in whether you stay steady on your feet or end up sidelined. This tiny muscle running along the front of your shin is responsible for lifting your toes when you walk. It ensures your foot clears the ground with every step, no matter how smooth or cracked the path beneath you. When this muscle weakens, your foot doesn't rise as it should. The result? You catch your toe on a rug. You stumble on the edge of a curb. You misstep on an uneven sidewalk. And just like that, you fall. What makes this even more concerning is how little attention it gets. Doctors often focus on the obvious: blood pressure, cholesterol, bone density, but overlook the subtle muscle imbalances that actually determine whether someone remains active or ends up dependent. This neglect is not due to bad intentions, but to a medical system designed to treat problems after they happen, not prevent them before they start. And when it comes to balance and fall prevention, that oversight is costing seniors their freedom, dignity, and quality of life. Now imagine this. You've lived an active, full life, raised a family, built a career, kept yourself strong and sharp. But one morning, you bend over to pick up a newspaper, catch your foot on the carpet, and within seconds, you're flat on the floor. A broken hip, a hospital stay, rehab. Maybe even a move to assisted living, all because of a single missed step, something that could have been prevented by strengthening one overlooked muscle for just 2 minutes a day. This is not about fear. It's about awareness. It's about taking power back. The truth is, falls are not an inevitable part of aging. They are often a preventable result of muscle decline that can be reversed with simple, consistent action, and it starts with knowledge. The tibialis anterior is your body's frontline defense against tripping and falling. Ignoring it is like driving a car with worn-out brakes. You might get by for a while, but when the road gets rough, the risk skyrockets. For Americans over 65, the time to act is not tomorrow. It's today. This isn't about doing push-ups or running marathons. It's about protecting your ability to walk across the room, step outside with confidence, and live without the constant fear of falling. It's about guarding the life you've built with a routine that fits right into your day. Because in the end, independence isn't measured by how far you can run. It's measured by whether you can safely make it from your bed to your bathroom in the middle of the night. That's the real definition of freedom at this stage in life. And it starts with understanding the critical role of one small muscle that has the power to keep you upright, steady, and strong. 2. The tibialis anterior. Muscle is crucial for balance. There's a quiet hero in your legs, one that hardly anyone talks about, yet it may be the single most important muscle for staying steady on your feet as you age. It's not your thigh muscles, and it's not your calves. It's the tibialis anterior, that slender muscle that runs down the front of your shin. While small in size, it plays a mighty role. It's the one that lifts your toes each time you take a step, making sure your foot clears the ground, and you don't trip over life's little obstacles. Without it working properly, every walk across a carpet, a doorstep, or a sidewalk crack becomes a gamble. What's astonishing is how vital this muscle is to daily life, and how little it's acknowledged in routine healthcare. This isn't just about fitness or staying in shape. It's about safety, confidence, and independence. Because when the tibialis anterior weakens, your toes start to drag. And when they drag, your risk of falling skyrockets. It only takes a split second, just one misstep, and everything changes. A fall doesn't just bruise your body. It can steal your mobility, your freedom, and your peace of mind. Medical studies have revealed that the tibialis anterior weakens faster than nearly every other leg muscle after the age of 60. In fact, research published in the Journal of Gerontology shows it loses strength 40% faster than your quadriceps or hamstrings. That means this crucial muscle often becomes dangerously weak without any warning signs until it's too late. Why does this happen? 2 major reasons. First, the nerves that communicate with this muscle degrade with age. By the time you're 65, you've likely lost about 30% of your lower leg nerve endings. That means even if the muscle is there, the brain's signal to lift your foot doesn't always get through. It's like trying to make a phone call with a fuzzy connection. You hear some of it, but not enough to take action. Second, our modern shoes, those ultra-cushioned sneakers we love for comfort, are actually doing the tibialis anterior a disservice. Decades ago, people walked barefoot or wore minimal shoes that forced their feet and legs to do the work. Today, all that padding trains our brains to forget how to activate this stabilizing muscle. It's a phenomenon researchers call muscle amnesia. This isn't just academic theory. The real-world consequences are sobering. A 2022 Mayo Clinic study followed 1,000 seniors for 5 years. Those with weak tibialis anterior muscles were nearly 4 times more likely to suffer a fall that landed them in the hospital. Even more alarming, 89% of the seniors tested had significant weakness in this muscle, and none had ever been told about it by a doctor. But here's the good news. This is not a life sentence. The same study found that just 8 weeks of focused, simple exercises could not only restore strength in the tibialis anterior, but also improve nerve sensitivity by up to 60%. That means more muscle power, better control, and stronger communication between your brain and your feet. Imagine walking with confidence again, knowing your body is working with you instead of against you. So, if you've been feeling unsteady, if you've tripped more often, or even if you haven't noticed a problem yet, know this. The tibialis anterior is the key to your balance, and strengthening it could be the single most important step you take toward protecting your independence. It's never too late to give attention to the muscle that quietly carries your safety with every stride.
If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward.
3. Walter Brooks' story illustrates the danger and the solution. Every once in a while, a story comes along that doesn't just inform, it transforms. Walter Brooks' story is one of those rare gems. A 68-year-old retired Air Force colonel from Scottsdale, Arizona, Walter had lived a life filled with discipline, strength, and vitality. He was up at 5 a.m. every day, 50 push-ups before breakfast, 18 holes of golf twice a week, swimming laps on Sundays. Friends called him unstoppable, invincible, even ageless. But what happened one ordinary morning changed everything and revealed a hidden weakness that almost cost him his freedom. It started with something so small, so innocent. Walter reached for his favorite coffee mug. There was nothing on the floor. No clutter, no wires, no slippery surface. But somehow his foot didn't clear the ground. He caught his toe, lost his balance, and in an instant, the mighty colonel found himself sprawled on his kitchen floor. The result? A hairline fracture in his hip, painful, frightening, and the first real threat to his independence. Walter's story is the wake-up call we all need, because this wasn't a man who neglected his health. He wasn't frail or fragile. He was strong by all appearances, and yet one overlooked muscle, the tibialis anterior, brought him down. At the VA Rehabilitation Center, he met Dr. Sarah Chen, a sports medicine specialist who finally named the silent culprit. "Colonel," she told him, "your fall had nothing to do with your strength or fitness. You've been ignoring the one muscle that matters most for balance. And that changed everything. What happened next is nothing short of remarkable." Dr. Chen introduced Walter to a 2-minute daily routine. That's it, just 2 minutes. No gym, no equipment, no complicated steps. 3 targeted exercises, simple enough to do while watching TV or waiting for the coffee to brew. Within 6 weeks, Walter wasn't just walking, he was thriving. He was back on the golf course, and to his surprise, shooting better scores than before the fall. His balance had improved, his stride was confident, and the fear that had crept into his daily movements, gone. Walter's recovery wasn't just physical, it was emotional and psychological. For someone who had spent decades leading others, the thought of needing help was devastating. But regaining his balance through intentional, consistent effort gave him back his autonomy. And more, it gave him purpose. Today, Walter is more than a success story. He's a teacher, a mentor, and a voice of hope. He now volunteers at his local VA, sharing these life-saving exercises with other veterans. Dozens of seniors have already benefited. One 82-year-old man even danced at his granddaughter's wedding, something he thought he'd never do again. Walter's message is clear. "I spent 30 years protecting our country, but I almost lost my independence because I ignored a tiny muscle in my shin. Don't make my mistake." His story reminds us that the strongest people aren't just those who lift the heaviest weights. They're the ones who recognize when it's time to change, when it's time to act, and when it's time to reclaim the strength that aging quietly tries to steal. If Walter can turn his fall into a second chance, so can you. 4. Signs your tibialis. Anterior is failing. Imagine your body trying to speak to you. Quietly at first, through subtle nudges and hints. A little stumble here. A slight hesitation before stepping over a threshold. A toe caught on the carpet again. For many older adults, these are the body's early warning signs. And yet, too often they're brushed aside as just getting older. But what if those everyday moments were actually messages from your tibialis anterior, your body's essential balance muscle, crying out for help? The tibialis anterior is responsible for lifting your toes when you walk, helping your feet clear the ground safely. When it weakens, your feet don't rise as high. Your toes begin to scrape, catch, or shuffle, and that's where the danger begins. Recognizing the signs of decline in this muscle can mean the difference between living freely and recovering from a fall in a hospital bed. Let's talk about the first red flag, the shuffle. Maybe you've noticed yourself taking shorter steps lately or dragging your feet slightly, especially when you're tired. That isn't just a slower gait. It's your tibialis anterior giving out. The shuffle is your brain's way of compensating for weakened foot-lifting muscles. It might seem harmless at first, but it's one of the clearest signs that your fall risk is increasing. Then there's threshold hesitation. If you find yourself pausing before stepping over a doorway or curb, having to think about how high to lift your foot, that's another warning. Your body is sensing that something isn't working right. The brain no longer trusts the muscle to clear the obstacle instinctively. What once was automatic now takes conscious effort, and that pause, while protective, is a sign that control is slipping. Toe stubs are another loud alarm. Catching your toes on a rug, the edge of a step, or even on flat ground more than once or twice a month isn't clumsiness. It's dysfunction. A large-scale study found that seniors who reported frequent toe stubbing were 5 times more likely to experience a serious fall within 12 months. When you catch your toe, it's not because the floor changed. It's because your tibialis anterior didn't do its job. And finally, uneven surface anxiety. Do you find yourself feeling uneasy on gravel, grass, or cobblestone? Are you avoiding these surfaces entirely? That fear isn't irrational. It's your brain trying to protect you from terrain that your body no longer handles with confidence. The tibialis anterior helps with micro-adjustments as you walk. When it weakens, those tiny shifts become more difficult. You feel less sure of each step, and your body responds with caution, or even avoidance. What's tragic is that so many people dismiss these signals. They think it's just age, but these are not normal parts of getting older. They are preventable, reversible signs of muscle neglect. And when addressed early, they can be corrected with something as simple as 2 minutes of daily exercise. Let this be your invitation to listen. Your body is speaking with every step. It's not asking for hours in the gym. It's simply asking you to notice and to act. If you felt that shuffle, that hesitation, that toe stub, this isn't the beginning of decline. It's the beginning of awareness. And with awareness comes power, the power to take control, rebuild strength, and walk forward with confidence once again.
If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward.
5. The science behind muscle weakening. Beneath the surface of every confident stride is a complex system of muscle, nerve, and brain communication. And as we age, one part of that system, the connection between your mind and the muscles in your legs, starts to fray like an old telephone line. The tibialis anterior, that slender yet powerful muscle on the front of your shin, is especially vulnerable. And while many know about the importance of strong bones or staying active, few realize how this single muscle silently determines whether you stay upright or suffer a devastating fall. The science is sobering but empowering. After the age of 60, the tibialis anterior doesn't just weaken, it deteriorates faster than nearly any other muscle in your body. In a groundbreaking 2023 study published in the Journal of Gerontology, researchers discovered that this muscle loses strength 40% more rapidly than larger, more well-known leg muscles like the quadriceps or hamstrings. That's because the tibialis anterior is especially dependent on precise, responsive nerve signals to function well. And those nerve signals? They fade with time. According to Dr. Michael Harrison, a leading gerontology expert, most people over 65 have already lost about 30% of the nerve endings in their lower legs. Imagine trying to drive your car with spotty brakes and a delayed steering response. That's what happens when the brain tries to send a signal to lift the foot, but the message gets garbled or delayed. The result? Your foot doesn't lift fully, your toe catches, and down you go. But the damage doesn't stop there. Enter modern footwear. The very shoes we count on for comfort are, ironically, weakening us further. Thick soles, arch supports, cushioned heels, They've created a world where the tibialis anterior no longer has to work. Researchers now call this muscle amnesia. Our ancestors walked barefoot or in simple sandals, forcing their muscles to engage and adapt to every step. Today, many shoes do the job for us, and over time, our muscles simply forget how to fire. This combination of weakened nerves and underused muscle sets the stage for falls, often without warning. One moment you're steady, the next you're on the ground, wondering how it happened. And yet, almost no one is talking about it. Routine checkups don't include tibialis anterior testing. Fitness programs for seniors focus on thighs and calves, overlooking the muscle that lifts your toes and keeps your foot from catching. Fortunately, the science also offers hope. The same study found that with just 8 weeks of targeted exercises, not only did muscle strength improve significantly, but nerve sensitivity increased by up to 60%. That means faster signal transmission, sharper reflexes, and more control with every step. Participants reported feeling decades younger when walking, lighter, quicker, more stable. One woman even described it as if someone had turned the lights back on in my feet. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming what's yours. The ability to walk without fear, to move without hesitation, to enjoy your life without the looming threat of a fall. The tibialis anterior may be small, but it plays a mighty role. And the science proves that with knowledge, attention, and 2 minutes a day, you can rebuild what time tried to take away. Your muscles haven't abandoned you. They're waiting, quietly, patiently, for you to wake them up. 6. The 3. Simple, daily exercises. If someone told you that just 2 minutes a day could transform your balance, sharpen your reflexes, and drastically reduce your risk of falling, would you believe them? For many older adults, it sounds too good to be true. But science and real-life stories now prove otherwise. And it all comes down to 3 remarkably simple exercises. Ones that require no gym, no fancy equipment, and no previous experience. These movements are not about sweating or straining. They're about waking up a forgotten muscle, the tibialis anterior. Let's begin with the power toe raise. It's deceptively easy but incredibly powerful. Sit tall in a sturdy chair with both feet flat on the ground. Now, keeping your heels firmly planted, lift just your toes and the front of your feet as high as possible. Hold for 2 seconds, then lower slowly. That's 1 repetition. 15 of these every day can begin to reactivate the tibialis anterior in a way few other exercises can. Once you feel stronger, graduate to the standing version. Stand near a wall or countertop for balance and perform the same motion. Lift the toes while keeping heels on the ground. The key is control. Don't rush. That burning feeling in your shin? That's your stability muscle finally waking up after years of dormancy. Then comes the heel walk. This one is the unsung hero of fall prevention. Stand tall with your feet about hip-width apart. Lift the front of your feet so only your heels are touching the ground. Now walk forward on your heels, taking small, controlled steps. Do 10 to 15 steps, rest, and repeat for 3 sets. It may feel odd at first, but this movement works the tibialis anterior like no other, while also engaging your core and balance system. It's a functional, real-life movement, one that mimics what your body does every time you avoid a trip or lift your foot over an obstacle. Finally, the 3rd movement brings fun and coordination into the mix. Alphabet writing. Sit comfortably in a chair and lift 1 foot a few inches off the ground. Use your big toe to write letters in the air. A, B, C, and so on. This isn't just physical, it's mental. You're retraining your brain to send precise messages to your foot. This reconnects the neural pathways that often weaken with age. Want to make it more fun? Spell your grandchild's name. Write out positive words like hope, strong, or joy. One grandfather even had foot writing contests with his granddaughter. What started as rehab became a treasured moment of bonding and laughter. The beauty of these exercises is that they fit seamlessly into your daily routine. Toe raises while brushing your teeth. Heel walks while waiting for toast. Alphabet writing during commercials. You don't have to carve out time. You just have to be consistent. As physical therapists often say, it's not about intensity, it's about frequency. 2 minutes a day, every day, creates change. So many seniors believe that fall prevention requires elaborate interventions or long therapy sessions. But the truth is, your body is designed to respond to simple, regular stimulation. These 3 exercises target the exact muscle that controls your foot's ability to clear the ground, and in doing so, give you back confidence, control, and calm with every step you take. Start small, stay steady, and know this, with just a few mindful movements, you're not just exercising, you're protecting your independence. The 4-week transformation timeline. What if in just 4 weeks, you could turn uncertainty into confidence, hesitation into strength, and fear of falling into freedom of movement? That's not a marketing promise. It's the lived reality for countless older adults who've embraced one simple habit. 2 minutes a day of focused, purposeful movement. And it all starts with your tibialis anterior, the slender, quiet muscle on the front of your shin that plays a louder role in your life than you ever imagined. The journey begins with week 1, the awakening. For many seniors, the first week of these exercises doesn't bring soreness or sweat. It brings awareness. As the tibialis anterior is reactivated, something shifts. Suddenly, you start to notice your feet more. You begin to feel the difference between dragging and lifting, between stumbling and stepping with purpose. Walter Brooks, the retired colonel whose story inspired many, described it as, like my feet had been asleep for years, and then someone shook them awake. These subtle sensations are your nervous system rebooting, an early sign of transformation. By week 2, the strength surge, you're no longer just noticing changes, you're feeling them. That once dormant muscle begins to fire with more consistency. Movements that felt awkward start to flow. Toe raises become easier. Heel walks more stable. Walking across the room doesn't feel like navigating a minefield. It feels natural. One woman, aged 74, shared that for the first time in years, she stepped over her front doorstep without holding on to the wall. I didn't even think about it, she said. I just stepped. And it worked. Then comes week 3 and 4. The balance breakthrough. This is when the nervous system and muscles sync in harmony. Your stride becomes smoother, your posture straightens, but most importantly, your confidence returns. The anxiety that once crept into every walk across the lawn, every trip to the grocery store, starts to fade. Your brain stops sending danger signals and starts trusting your body again. It's what physical therapists call automatic stability. You no longer have to think about each step. You just walk, and you walk well. Walter, who had once considered assisted living after his fall, was now golfing with more power and walking with more grace than he had in years. His walking speed increased by 30%. More importantly, the fear was gone. I stopped tiptoeing through life, he said. Now I stride. And then comes week 8, the new normal. You don't just maintain your progress, you exceed it. Balance test scores rise to levels seen in adults decades younger. Confidence becomes the baseline. Walter even began teaching the exercises to other veterans, helping over 50 seniors rediscover their footing. One 82-year-old danced at his granddaughter's wedding. Another tossed his cane in the trunk and hasn't used it since. This transformation isn't about miracle pills or high-impact workouts. It's about consistent, mindful movement. The body, even in later years, is remarkably responsive when treated with care and consistency. What begins as a humble 2-minute routine becomes a daily anchor, one that steadies your steps, uplifts your confidence, and protects the independence you hold dear. In just 4 weeks, You can go from unsure steps to unwavering strides. It all begins with a choice, and just 2 minutes a day.
If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 7 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward.
8. Consistency and habit stacking are key. When it comes to protecting your balance and independence in later life, the secret isn't found in intense workouts or expensive equipment. It's found in something far simpler and far more powerful: consistency. 2 minutes a day, every day. That's all it takes to awaken the muscle that keeps your feet from tripping, your steps from faltering, and your confidence from fading. But how do you make this a lasting part of your routine? The answer lies in a powerful technique called habit stacking. Habit stacking is the art of linking a new behavior, like the tibialis anterior exercises, to something you already do without thinking. And for older adults, it's a game changer. Instead of struggling to remember when to do your toe raises or heel walks, you simply tie them to existing habits. Brushing your teeth? That's your cue for toe raises. Waiting for your morning toast? Perfect time for a set of heel walks. Watching the evening news? Why not write a few letters in the air with your foot while you're at it? Walter Brooks, whose story has inspired so many, is a master of habit stacking. He doesn't set aside a special time for his exercises. He weaves them into his daily rhythm. While brushing his teeth in the morning, he does toe raises. While the coffee brews, he heel walks around the kitchen island. During TV commercials in the evening, he writes his granddaughter's name in the air with his toes. It's not a burden, it's a flow. And that's what makes it sustainable. The beauty of this approach is that it removes the excuses. You don't need a gym. You don't need an hour of free time. You don't even need to break a sweat. You just need awareness and a willingness to anchor these movements to your daily life. And the results speak for themselves. Studies show that people who use habit stacking are 70% more likely to maintain a new routine than those who rely on memory or willpower alone. Morning tends to be the best time for these exercises, especially because your muscles are fresh and your balance centers are most alert. But the truth is, the best time is the one you'll stick to. Whether it's while making lunch or listening to the radio, the key is repetition, not perfection. It's also worth considering a few simple tools that can boost your success. A small kitchen timer or a phone alarm can serve as a gentle nudge. Grip socks can provide extra safety, especially if you're doing the exercises on smooth flooring. A yoga mat adds comfort. A balance pad, for those further along in their progress, can help challenge the muscles even more. But above all, remember this: consistency beats intensity. Doing 15 controlled reps every day will always outperform a high-intensity session once a week. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't brush for an hour once a week. You do it for a minute, twice a day, every day. That's how you maintain your oral health. The same logic applies to your balance. So make these exercises a habit, not a chore. Link them to moments in your day that already exist. Turn them into rituals. Because when you do, you're not just strengthening your body, you're reinforcing a foundation of independence, resilience, and vitality that will serve you for years to come. 9. Walter's legacy, from injury to inspiration. What does it mean to truly recover? Is it simply returning to where you were, or is it rising beyond it, turning pain into purpose and setbacks into stepping stones? For Walter Brooks, a 68-year-old retired Air Force colonel, recovery wasn't just about healing a fractured hip. It was about reclaiming his life, and then using his journey to change the lives of others. His story is a shining reminder that even after a fall, even after fear creeps in, there is a path forward, paved by determination, awareness, and a willingness to act. Just months before his transformation, Walter was on the verge of surrendering his independence. One fall, caused not by weakness of character but by weakness in one overlooked muscle, left him injured and shaken. For a man who had survived combat missions and led with strength for decades, the idea of selling his golf clubs and moving to assisted living was crushing. But then came a turning point, a simple 2-minute routine introduced by a wise and compassionate doctor. That tiny routine, toe raises, heel walks, and alphabet writing, changed everything. Walter followed the exercises daily. He didn't need a gym or special gear, just a chair, a little space, and a quiet determination to not let aging define him. The change began slowly. A little more lift in his step, a little more confidence when navigating the front porch. And then, suddenly, momentum kicked in. His balance improved, his fear diminished, and his energy surged. Within a few short weeks, Walter wasn't just walking better. He was swinging a golf club with more precision, climbing stairs without thinking, and walking across uneven ground with ease. But here's where his story becomes even more powerful. Walter didn't keep his success to himself. He saw the quiet struggles of those around him, friends, fellow veterans, neighbors, and he knew he had to share what he'd learned. He started with his golf group. Within weeks, 3 of his friends were doing the same exercises, and every one of them reported feeling stronger and more stable. One man, who had relied on a cane for 2 years, left it in the car for good. At his local VA center, Walter went further. He began volunteering, teaching these simple movements to other seniors. So far, he's helped over 50 people, many of whom had lost hope. His proudest moment? An 82-year-old Korean War veteran, once afraid to walk unaided, danced joyfully at his granddaughter's wedding. "I thought that part of life was behind me," the man said, but Walter gave it back. Walter's journey shows us that aging doesn't mean fading. It means adapting, learning, and sometimes rediscovering forgotten parts of ourselves. He reminds us that independence isn't a gift. It's something we defend with daily action. And sometimes the hero of your story isn't a grand act, but a tiny muscle no one ever told you about until now. So let Walter's story be your spark. Whether you've stumbled once or simply fear what might come, know this: you have the power to change your path. Start with 2 minutes, stay with it daily, and share it with someone who needs it. Because one man's fall became a movement, and your next step could inspire the next chapter in someone else's story. What is your independence worth? Is it worth 2 minutes of your day? Is it worth a few simple movements while your coffee brews or the news plays in the background? For many older adults, the answer is a resounding yes, but only once they've tasted the fear of losing it. The truth is, you don't have to wait for a fall to remind you how fragile independence can be. You can act today, right now, because the same small muscle that has quietly been weakening with age, the tibialis anterior, can also become your strongest ally if you give it the attention it deserves. Every senior knows someone who has fallen, a neighbor, a friend. Maybe it's even happened to you. One missed step, one uneven tile, one forgotten muscle, and suddenly life changes. But here's the empowering truth. You don't need to be afraid. You just need to be informed. And then, you need to act. The path to safer steps, steadier balance, and greater freedom starts not with a prescription, but with a promise. To yourself. A promise to move. To wake up that shin muscle that lifts your toes. To reawaken the communication between your brain and your feet. And to build consistency, one small habit at a time. These aren't difficult exercises. They're graceful, gentle motions designed for real people with real lives. Toe raises while brushing your teeth. Heel walks across the kitchen. Alphabet writing while watching your favorite show. These moments aren't interruptions. They're investments. Walter Brooks made that investment. And the returns were life-changing. From fear and frustration, he emerged more stable, more confident, and more connected to the people and activities he loved. He no longer lives with dread, When walking across grass or stepping over thresholds, he lives with purpose, with pride, and most importantly, with freedom. So here's your call to action. Don't wait until a fall forces you to act. Start strengthening your tibialis anterior today. Choose your first exercise. Will it be the toe raises, the heel walks, or the alphabet writing? Let it reflect who you are. Cautious planner, action taker, creative spirit, your choice says a lot about you. But whatever you pick, commit to it. Make it yours. Make it daily. Because 2 minutes a day can buy you something priceless, peace of mind. And remember, consistency isn't about perfection. It's about showing up for yourself every single day. If you miss a day, forgive yourself and begin again. Like brushing your teeth, it's not the effort once a week that counts. It's the regular rhythm that builds strength over time. Think of each rep as a vote for your independence, your vitality, your future. Now imagine sharing this gift with a friend, with your spouse, with a sibling who's been stumbling more often. If this knowledge can help even one person avoid the trauma of a fall, it's worth passing on. Because it's not just a muscle, it's a mission to stay upright, strong, and free. Your body is ready. Your mind is willing. All that's left is your commitment. Start today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, 2 minutes, one muscle, a lifetime of difference. The core message behind this powerful content is that aging does not mean surrendering control. It means embracing awareness and using small, consistent actions to protect what matters most: independence, mobility, and dignity. The tibialis anterior may be a tiny muscle, but it holds a mighty lesson. Often, it's the overlooked parts of ourselves that carry the greatest responsibility. For older adults, this speaks to a broader truth. Your body is still capable of responding, healing, and adapting no matter your age, but it needs your attention. Just as relationships require care and gardens require watering, our bodies thrive when we stay engaged with them daily. A 2-minute routine may seem insignificant, but over time, it can reshape your future. The lesson here is universal. Never underestimate the impact of small, deliberate efforts. Whether it's walking with confidence, staying active with your grandchildren, or simply avoiding the fear of falling, your quality of life is built on the choices you make each day. This is not about perfection. It's about commitment. And it begins not with strength, but with intention. At any age, reclaiming your strength, physical and emotional, starts with choosing to show up for yourself, even in the smallest ways.
Thank you for joining us today. We would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today, how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue to create great content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.